Well, one of the biggest questions, where exactly will the eye of the storm make landfall, and what difference does it make with a storm of this magnitude? As of now, forecasters say the storm will slam the Keys, then move up Florida's west coast. Janice Dean is tracking the storm's movement from the Fox Extreme Weather Center. Janice, I have a couple questions for you. First and foremost, I was looking at your Twitter page and I saw that we are seeing some tornadoes, at least watches associated with this storm. But I also want to get your opinion when we hear that it's a Category 3, because really, does that make a difference at all at this point?
No, and I want to stress that it weakened a little bit because it went over land. It lost its source of fuel. But look at the last few frames of the satellite imagery. Look at how well defined that eye is right now. That right there is a strengthening storm, and the National Hurricane Center is saying we're going to go up to a Category 4 yet again. So just a brief moment of weakening, and now we have very warm water, 90-degree bath water for this storm to strengthen over the next 12 hours. And if we're dealing with a strengthening storm as it makes landfall, that's going to bump up a lot. That's going to bump up the storm surge, certainly the winds and the heavy rainfall, as the right front quadrant of the storm brings the worst conditions. So across the Keys and the west coast of Florida, you need to be finalizing your preparations because this storm is coming. It started to make its northward turn. So as we go further out in time, there's a Category 4 storm right on the doorstep of Key West tomorrow morning, and then perhaps making another landfall around the Naples area at 7 p.m. and then up towards the Big Bend of Florida on Tuesday, finally moving towards the Tennessee River Valley. But we're still dealing with a major hurricane Monday and Tuesday off the coast of Florida. Tornado threat. Liz mentioned that. We do have the potential for tornadoes as this storm continues to crawl up the coast of Florida. So the whole state of Florida is going to possibly be under a tornado watch for the next 48 to 72 hours. So tornado threat there. No tornado warned storms right now, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Let's break it down. Here's the future radar on one of our reliable forecast models, possibly making a landfall around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. on Sunday around Key West, and then up towards Fort Myers, Naples. Remember that northeast side of the storm, the worst for the storm surge, the worst for the winds, and if we're dealing with the Category 4 storm, upwards of 130, 140 mile per hour winds sustained, that's going to cause some major problems and potentially a catastrophe. Storm surge, that is the #1 killer when it comes to landfalling hurricanes, and in this case we're going to be seeing a storm surge in some cases 8 to 15 feet depending on where the north and east side of the storm makes landfall. So that's going to be very dangerous. A lot of these areas are very low-lying. 8 to 12 feet is going to inundate these areas, and that's why we're so concerned. Forecast wind gusts. All right, we're going to be dealing with hurricane force winds, especially on the west coast of Florida, really for the next several days. So Naples, 122 mile per hour winds on Sunday as it scrapes up the coast. There's Tampa on Monday at 102 miles per hour, 100 miles for Cedar Key. So this storm is no joke. You cannot say it is weakening because right now we are expecting a landfall of a very strong Category 4 storm. And for the west coast of Florida, they haven't experienced something like this in some cases for a century. Forecast rainfall easily 10 to 12 isolated inches of upwards of 15 inches. But again, it's not about the rainfall this time. Harvey certainly was. It's about the storm surge because we've got very low-lying areas and the wind gusts in excess of 140, 50 mile per hour sustained winds if we have a landfall of a Category 4. All right, here are our tropical storm force models. We've started to see that northward curve. So all indications are a landfall on the Keys tomorrow morning, perhaps a second one around the Naples area, and then it's going to continue to scrape the coast with the worst side of this storm for the west coast of Florida. And then we're going to be dealing with the potential for tropical storm force winds for parts of Georgia in towards the Tennessee River Valley. So we're going to be dealing with this storm, unfortunately, for the next several days. And you can see those are the forecast wind gusts, hurricane force winds for much of the state of Florida through Monday and Tuesday. Liz, back to you.
All right, Janice Dean with the very latest. Janice, thank you so much.
Okay.